much. I'm tired of it. Uh-oh. What'd I do? What that is? No, I don't know what I did here. I done messed up the image. Oh, well. It went back to normal. Yeah, I'm tired of winning, y'all. This is the Solomon Project, where it's not how much you make, it's how much you keep that counts. I'm your host, Richard Burns, and I am tired of winning. Like my costume, I'm dressed up as a truck driver for this Halloween, y'all. What do you think? But I'm going to do an audio check right quick. I'm not doing that. What the heck? Doing an audio check, guys. Very sorry. Here we go. Let's see if the audio's okay. Did you hear that? That was me. That was me, y'alls. That was me on my own live. A lot of people are tired of winning right now. Have you seen just how many layoffs there have been between Amazon, UPS, and a bunch of others? Matter of fact, I thought I looked it up. Let's see. I'm going to look up total number of layoffs. Let's see what that produces, y'alls. Oh, we got peoples. Fulver. Hi, Fulver. Hi, Felipe. Hi, Logan. Hi, Chamé. Is that how it's pronounced? Je ne parle pas français. Logan. Hey. Okay, as of late October 2025, total U.S. job cuts announced by employers are approaching 1 million. Okay. So those are the job cuts. Now, of course, many of those people are going to find jobs. The question is the pay that they're getting cut from here and then the new jobs are paying down here? Is that what's going on? If they do find employment, what's the deal with that? And how is AI impacting all that? Does anybody know? Well, here's the interesting thing about AI. It's impacting blue collar and white collar positions. So managerial positions are being impacted by AI, potentially more so than the blue collar. Oh, now I think that's a little different, no? From previous, no? Je suis dominicain. Oh, there you go, little français, just a little bit. J'étudie français pour 3 ans dans l'université. I was learning. You did, Logan? Oh man, thank you so much for that. I really appreciate that. Really. Thank you, Logan. So that's the question. Now, November 1st, you guys already know, if you've been paying attention to any news, the big deal here in the United States, because as I'm suspecting, there are people that leniency. The big deal over here in the United States is I try to be American. Well, that's somebody corrected me, because if I say I'm American, I'm including North, Central, and South America, because this is all the Americas, this entire hemisphere here. So to be specific, oh, you're Turkish? Nice. So to be specific, I'm in the U.S., United States, that part of the Americas, and the food stamps are not going to be distributed, or the money for the food stamps are not going to be distributed as of November 1st, which is tomorrow. And there's a big to-do about that. But somebody, hey, professor, I'm tired of winning. Trump said we were going to be tired of winning. And I'm tired of winning. Hey, Sunil, am I pronouncing that right? Sunil? Oh, Logan, you're Irish? Oh, nice. New York City has a rich Irish history. As a matter of fact, I used to box at a PAL. PAL stands for Police Athletic League in Hell's Kitchen, a section of Manhattan called Hell's Kitchen, which is dominated by the Irish mob. Yeah. It's called thieving for some of them, huh? Yeah. Hey, thank you. Thank you, Leuven. It's got the channel logo on there. Tammany Hall. Yes, Professor. Tammany Hall was serious business. Oh my God. The amount of money that was stolen, basically, by corrupt means, was an outrageous amount of money. In today's figures, unbelievable. Oh, you got to go, Leuven? Listen, stay fresh and keep it profitable out in Turkey, okay? Turkey was having some struggles with their inflation for a hot minute. I don't know how well it is now. So people are going to get their ability to acquire food diminished or eliminated. But we do have $40 billion. Okay? We do have $40 billion for propping up the currency of another country, for Argentina. We got $40 billion for that, though. People don't need to eat. What do people need to eat for? They don't need to eat. See, here's the interesting thing, right? And going back to this business about, yeah, right, Professor? That is going to be interesting. I've got relatives that are on food stamps that have been calling me regularly Apparently, they forgot how I operate. They forgot how I operate. They really did. Because these very relatives, these very relatives are the type of people that when I give them a piece of advice or whatever, and I don't insist, I'll bring it up every now and then. Logan, I'm a truck driver. I drive a tractor trailer. Look, I'll show you the type of truck that I drive. You see there? That's the type of truck I drive. Hey, Sunil, you leaving? Stay fresh and keep it profitable. Yeah, so these are the type of relatives that they want to engage me in conversation about finance. Thank you, Louie. Is it okay if I call you Louie? They want to engage me in conversation about finance. Oh, nice, Logan. We're kindred spirits. And then, hey, sunflower. They want to engage me in conversation about finance. And when I break it down, it's always the same deal. It's always like, yeah, yeah. That, you know what? Yeah, that's a great idea. Yeah. That's the same response you gave me 2 weeks ago about the same subject. Yeah. Yeah, Professor. What did you miss, Sunflower? You missed my intro. By the way, guys, in the description below, there are 2 brokers that you can tap on the link. And if you open up an account with either Webull or what's that other one I put up there? Acorns. If you open up an account, fund it, they give you either money or stocks, whatever the case is. And if you're not in the stock market, I'll break down what the deal is with that later. Yeah, Professor. That would be good. Check it out. Louie, look, this is what I do for a living, okay? I drive those types of trucks. That's what I drive. 50 an hour. Logan, you're in Ireland, right? So you get paid 50 euros an hour? What? Now, if you're getting paid 50 euro an hour, what's the cost of living like? Because if you're paying like, American, 50 American dollars an hour? Woo, that's good money. That's good money. That's a good middle class wage right there. So here's the deal, right? Corporations, by law, corporations are withholding to the shareholders. Honestly, I don't even know, Logan, because I get paid by the mile. I get paid 70 cents per mile. So if I'm not moving, I'm not making money. Yeah, Leuven, come on over. You'll be my motivation to do lives every day. I don't know what time. Usually in the morning I go morning Eastern time. Eastern time I usually go live anywhere between 7 and 9 a.m. I don't really have a schedule. Sorry about that. But if you hit the notification bell, you'll be notified when I go live. So you'll be able to catch the live either from the beginning or you'll come in sometime in the middle of it. I try to do a minimum of an hour. I try, but the subject matter is kind of hard to stretch out to an hour. So yes, so by law, tomorrow night is Saturday night. Every Saturday night at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, I do a live that I call Saturday Night Live. Every Saturday night. That's genius. Thank you, Louis. Thank you. Thank you for that. So if the board of a corporation is under the suspicion by the shareholders that they're not doing their job to increase the value of the shares, the shareholders can sue the board and the corporation. Yeah. That's how that works. That's how that works. Now, the top shareholders, the ones with the most shares, hey, Mr. Blag, is that how I say it? Mr. Blag? Hi there. Germany, huh? I got a friend that lives out there. A friend that I grew up with. He lives in Germany. His daughter was born in Germany. He's doing very well for himself. He does short films, and he has his own comic book, I think. He used to date the person that used to do the artwork for Thor. The daughter of the man that used to do the artwork for Thor, he used to date her. And that's how he got into Marvel Comics. And he has his own comic book. He did a short film, one of which I was in. I don't know if it's available out in Europe. It's called B-Boys. I was some Wepa! What's up, Lily? I was some thug breakdancer. Yeah, you want to win too, Lily? You want to take my winnings? My winnings are in Snap. So if you don't get your winnings by tomorrow, then there won't be no winnings. There won't be no winnings. Hey, we can all go hungry here, or the people who need the Snap can all go hungry. But don't forget, we do have $40 billion to prop up the Argentinian peso, the Argentinian currency. Now, what it all boils down to, hey, I've been out here. I've been in the streets, the YouTube streets. I've been doing lives as I drive. Live as I drive. I like the title. Oh, you're not gonna go to Argentina? Oh man. Well, if you go to Argentina, maybe you can get a piece of those 40 billion that Trump gave, that Trump helped the Argentinian government with. Super cool. But people can go hungry here. That's okay. That's okay. People don't have to eat here. Oh, the East Wing too. That's right, Professor. That's right. We got money to remodel or to tear down the East Wing so we can put up, what is it? A ballroom? Yeah, we're putting up a ballroom. So all you people that depend on food stamps, and keep in mind, a lot of the people that are on food stamps, they actually do work. They actually do work. It's just that whatever they're getting paid ain't enough for them to pay their rent, their utilities, and also buy food. So you understand, Lily, right? You got college students, you got people in the military that receive food stamps. People in the military that receive food stamps. Yeah. They can go and those members of the militaries that are taking SNAP, they can go, hey, Daniel Barry, happy Halloween. I'm dressed as a truck driver today. No, there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that. There's something wrong with how much they're getting paid to do their job so that they can't afford to sustain themselves. Yeah, there's something wrong with that. But yeah, you like my costume, Lily? Truck driver. Um, so those members of the military that receive SNAP, yeah, Professor, you know what I'm talking about. You know what I'm talking about. Aloha, Rachel. Rachel, is it Rachel? Rachel Aloha. Aloha. So these servicemen and women who are on food stamps, it's okay for them to sacrifice life and limb, right? If something jumps off, they gotta go. Life and limb. They don't have to eat though. You don't need to eat in before you get deployed. If you do get deployed, you don't need to eat. You can starve for like a week or two, right? Before it's lights out, and then they can deploy you. You can eat over at. You can go eat the MRIs at the front line. That's better. Yeah. Yeah, you don't have to eat. You don't have to eat. It's not necessary. But to prop up that currency in Argentina with $40 billion, that's a whole lot better. That's better. That's better. It's better for everybody. The tariffs are better for everybody. So here's the deal with the tariffs, right? Here's the deal. The big deal is not the tariffs. That's not the big deal. The big deal is the uncertainty that it's causing in the business community because they don't know what to do. They don't know when Trump is serious, when he's not serious, when there's going to be tariffs, when there's not going to be tariffs. They don't know what to do with their money and how to deploy their money within the company. And here's another deal. Let's say Trump sticks to his guns this time and there are a bunch of countries that have to pay tariffs when they didn't have to pay tariffs before, or a huge percentage. MAGA, I'm sorry, your math just doesn't math. The bottom line is those tariffs are paid here at the ports of entry by the companies that need that product. So it's the U.S. companies that pay that import tax. That's what it's called, an import tax. I know they try to avoid that term by using the term tariff because for those people who don't know what a tariff is, it's just another word. It's just another word that they can keep repeating to everybody. The truth is, a tariff is an import tax. And it's businesses, US businesses, that are paying to receive those products from overseas so that they can warehouse it and sell it here. Now, here's the deal, right? Going back to the relationship between corporations and shareholders, right? So what's going to happen when a corporation goes and pays those import taxes? Well, if they don't pass it on to the consumer, what, Rachel? 73,000 manufacturing jobs? That's not very nice. 73,000. Well, it's okay because they don't need to eat. 73,000 people don't need to eat. They don't need to pay their bills. Their landlords or the banks that issued them mortgages, they don't need that money. No, of course not. I was a landlord. Did I need that money? No. All I had to do was walk into the bank, sing and dance for 1 minute and 38 seconds, and I didn't have to pay my mortgage. Yeah, and what about the stores in their neighborhood, those 73,000? What about the stores in their areas? Whoa, are they going to make less revenue because fewer people? 42,000 jobs since April of 2025. Oh, due to tariffs. Oh, okay, so see. Oh, thank you, Rachel. That's where I was getting at. Once the corporation has to pay those import taxes, the corporation has to make a decision. Remember, the boards of those corporations are beholden to the shareholders. So they're going to have to put out a report saying, hey, we're thinking about absorbing the expenses associated with these import taxes. So we're going to make less profit, folks. And the shareholders are going to be so happy because that's why they bought stocks in the company, right? Well, let me tell you something. Corporations have a legal obligation to increase the value of the shares for the shareholders. That's what I remember. If I'm wrong, go right ahead and correct me, please. But that's what I remember from my years of being a broker. So, what are the shareholders going to say when they hear that? Say, what? We're taking the hit? No, we're not. You're going to figure out a way so that this does not impact our share prices. You're going to figure out a way. Well, there are two popular ways that corporations go about protecting themselves. One is, uh, well, they're both actually popular, but one is passing the cost on to the consumer. So when the consumer goes to purchase whatever goods that this corporation sells, they're going to realize that they're paying more for that product than they used to. Oh, why the increase? Because of the import tax that the company has to pay. Oh. Another way, if they don't want the customers because they're afraid that the customer might go somewhere else and lose market share, what they'll do is they'll lay people off by lowering the labor costs. They can absorb the import tax. And what are we seeing right now? The same thing that Rachel was mentioning. Tons of layoffs. And what a time, right? Perfect timing. Laying people off, cutting off snaps as the Christmas holiday comes around, which is, I can't imagine that retailers are happy about the timing of this thing. I can't imagine that because that could very well impact the bottom line of these retailers that depend heavily on sales during the Christmas season. Could that lead to more layoffs? It's possible. It's possible. How bad is it? We don't know. Why not? Because the BLS is shut down right now. The Bureau of Labor Statistics shut down right now. Right, Professor? They're complaining about Thanksgiving already. And with the damage that's being done right now, is there going to be any Christmas shopping? Listen, the retailers, I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen. The stock market's doing very well, though, but it's being held up by tech companies. The activity going on amongst the billionaires. And see, going back to the shareholders, the largest shareholders are the wealthy. And it is the wealthy that are going to have their lawyers send letters to these board members letting them know, hey, my stock better not be going down. The stock prices better not be going down due to your mismanagement. Whoa. Trying to pick a fight now? Trying to pick a fight. I don't celebrate holidays either, Professor. I haven't celebrated holidays in so long. You see, I can't say that I was raised poor, but I was raised in a poor environment. I was surrounded by poverty because I was raised in the hood. And I did demonstrate an above average intellectual capacity. I did demonstrate that. Not that I made use of it. But I did demonstrate it. Yeah, I had been tested on many occasions. And oh my God, it turns out that I made it into some specialized schools. Oh, you were raised on a farm, Rachel? Listen, farm, man. Let me tell you something about farms. Farms are no joke. At 16, was I 16? I think so. I think I was 16 or 17. I forget how old I was. Or 15. Well, between 15 and 17. I went to go visit some family that are farmers. And I met my cousin same age as me. And at that time, I was very athletic. I was boxing, I was doing karate, I was doing judo, I was doing baseball, football, basketball. Oh, Iowa, okay. And I was doing all that, and my exercise regimen was ridiculous. It really was. And let me tell you something. When I went to meet my cousin for the first time, this guy was so strong. When I shook his hand, he almost broke every bone in my body. And as far as physique was concerned, we were similar in physique. Yeah. I was doing something in the order of 200 to 300 push-ups a day, like 500 to 700 sit-ups of every type per day. At at 16, I think it was, I was bench pressing 350 pounds. I was strong. But that was nothing compared to my cousin who didn't do any of that stuff. He was just a farmer. He just worked on the farm. This dude was so ridiculously strong. And that's from my mother's side of the family, because on my father's side of the family, I got this one cousin, rest in peace. His strength was, it was just not normal. It was outside of how strong a normal human being was supposed to be. Really. This guy was ridiculous. But he wasn't a farmer. He was a, what do you call those? I forget the name of his craft. Wow. The farmers you knew had a missing limb or digit. Dangerous work sometimes. Sometimes. If you look at the list of the top most dangerous jobs in the United States, farming is up there. Farming is top 3. Farming is top 3. Farming is top 3. Truck driving is somewhere around top 8. Near the bottom. Near the bottom. Matter of fact, these two professions put together only make up, I think, 18% of how many truck drivers are unalived on a yearly basis. Both of them combined. Police and firemen. You wouldn't think that, but that's because there's so much marketing around, especially around police work. There's so much marketing. There's so many, there have been so many TV series about cops, movies about cops. Any little thing that happens is front page news with the cops. You don't hear nothing about farmers. And more farmers die on a yearly basis by far than cops and firefighters put together on a yearly basis, on average. Farming is a dangerous job, and it's not just it's not just the equipment, the livestock. Look, you have truck drivers that transport livestock, and out of curiosity, I asked I came across what was that? I think I was an Alabama professor that by the Gulf, Alabama or Mississippi, one of the two. And I encountered a truck just by looking at the type of truck that he had. I knew that he was used to hauling something other than a dry van that he had. I don't know if he was. I didn't know. It doesn't make sense. What about the farmers? Man, look. Let me tell you something, Professor. When I spoke to that truck driver was telling me that he used to haul. He was hauling livestock, and I was curious because I was curious to know how much they made. Yeah, roll tide, huh? Brings back memory. Are you fist pumping right now? Yeah. And he was telling me how dangerous transporting livestock was. He said that um, a lot of truck drivers get crushed by livestock, crushed to death by livestock, and they're the ones that have to. The drivers are the ones that have to load the trailers. The drivers, and he says um, it's probably the most dangerous things that truck drivers do. Load livestock onto those trailers. Incredible. Now with the farmers, they work with equipment that, like one guy was telling me that what they used to for hay. Oh no, I didn't even include that. But you got to watch out for that too. You got to watch out for. I mean, if you have livestock, if you're a rancher and you got livestock, you got to go out at night. You got to watch out for predatory animals. But even those machines that what is it called, baling hay, cut limbs right off like nothing. Cut limbs right off. The balers, yeah, there you go, Rachel. Balers will cut your leg right off, clean, and you'll bleed out right there, and it's goodbye. Cougars, depending on where you are, yes. Bears, coyotes, gotta watch out. Wild boar, wild boar are super dangerous. Go to Texas. There's tons of wild boar. Oh yeah, those balers will cut your limbs right off. Right off. Right off. Yeah, wolves, depending on what part of the country you're at. Like if you're in Nebraska, not Nebraska, if you're up in Montana and you got cattle, yeah. Idaho, yeah. Yeah, gray wolves are no joke. They're usually in packs. Yeah, due to farm equipment. And they're still alive, which is fortunate. Apparently, they weren't alone when they were working the equipment, huh, Rachel? I would imagine. Because if you're alone and you're working some of that equipment, that could be the end of you. That could be the end of you. And not only that, many farmers acquire illnesses due to the chemicals that they use. Oh, people don't talk about that. Oh, they were always alone? Wow, they're fortunate then. They're fortunate. Because you could bleed right out. You got a limb cut off, you could bleed right out. You could be gone because it's severing an artery somewhere along that limb. I got my ex lady's uncle. That's how he perished. That's how he was unalive. His wife stabbed him in the leg, caught an artery, bled right out, gone. Yeah, Professor, the chemicals. Oh, so Rachel, so you did have some loss. Yeah, okay, so you did lose some relatives. Yeah, okay. Yeah, that makes sense because you get cut in the wrong place. See you later. Yeah, you're out of here. You're out of here. I remember in one self-defense class that I used to attend, my instructor selected a small group of people, and I was selected in that small group of people where we were taught how to disarm from knife attacks, machetes. But he would teach the regular class one way of completing the defense, and if they had a knife or a machete, he would demonstrate a certain cut. But with us, the little group, the cuts that we were taught were lethal. It was to finish them off. It was a different way of cutting in a different area of the body. Both my dad's wives died of cancer. Yeah. And I'm convinced it was due to the chemicals. Internal organ tumors metastasized. Yes. There was a study done many times. Yes. And yes, those chemicals were causing that. They try to keep that on the hush as much as they can. Even you losing family members to cancer have your doubts as to whether or not it was related to those chemicals. But there have been studies that show that yes, that's exactly the reason. But again, gotta keep that hush, you know? Oh, I'm not surprised. They put their full faith in the corporation that was producing it. Beck is one of them. Beck makes chemicals for farming. BECK. I've seen their signs. Every time I cross Iowa, Nebraska, Texas, Ohio, Indiana, Illinois, I see their signs. Monsanto's the big dog. Monsanto is the big dog when it comes to that. It's fascinating. It's fascinating. I was reading up on the history of the petrochemical industry. It's fascinating. It really is. At the control of the petrochemical industry and our educational system are the Rockefellers. Who's the big daddy? David Rockefeller? That's the big daddy? It's a fascinating history. Interesting look on what the government had to do to break up the Rockefellers' monopoly. Oh, he was near Monsanto in St. Louis. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And if you do the homework, you'll realize how corporations like Monsanto's got into the food industry in Central and South America and disrupted government. Standard Oil, professor. Standard Oil. Let me tell you, a lot of people don't realize that the oil industry started here in the United States, not in Saudi Arabia, not in the Middle East, here in Pennsylvania. Yeah, right here in Pennsylvania. And fascinating because the gentleman that was uh, hired to go digging for oil in Titusville, Pennsylvania. That's where it all started. Titusville, Pennsylvania. Back in the 1860s, I think it was. Oh, the robber barons? Yeah, got to look into that. No, I'm not based in Penn. The company that I work for is based in Canada, but I'm based out of Florida. I'm based out of Florida. I'm not from Florida, but I migrated to Florida from New York. I was raised in New York City, in Harlem, and in the worst parts of the Bronx that you could possibly imagine. But in yeah, Pennsylvania, that's Titusville, Pennsylvania. That's where it all kicked off. This guy was looking to make money off of kerosene, and he used to see an oily substance floating in a lake out in Titusville. Yeah, I got a wide perspective. I'm genuinely curious, and maybe my father had a lot to do with that because my father was a college professor, but he was always doing something to learn something new. Always, I used to always see him getting into things. Being King doesn't go back to New York City too much either. No, no, New York City left a deep scar. Growing up in New York City, my best friend was fear. Fear was my best friend. I'm not courageous like my father or my siblings. I'm not courageous like them. They're courageous. I'm not. And yeah, fear, fear. Every day going to school was frightening. Oh, you have been, Rachel? Hey, thank you for that, Rachel. Wow. I wasn't sure if I was doing a good job or not. I like to share. I like to share my experience whenever I can. The professor could tell you that. Tara Helms is the professor. Yeah, she could tell you that. I'm always um, exposing some of my life. I, so I want to say that I do it to help connect with people and hopefully share something that other people can. No, I'm I'm not close to. That's because Florida is relatively long. So I'm over in Kissimmee by right next to Orlando, right by Disney. That's where I'm at. And Brandon is down south near Miami. It's a few hours drive. I want to say maybe a 5 hour drive, maybe. Yeah, it's not that close. A 5 hour drive at 70 miles an hour, so it's not that close. But my father was always learning. That man never stopped reading, never stopped experimenting, never stopped doing any of that stuff. I guess it rubbed off on me. I did like to go outside, but always nervous and scared that something would jump off. Like one day when I was at the basketball court, but I was already an adult by then. This was in the Bronx. We're all playing basketball, and two guys got into an argument over a call. Yeah, he is an excellent cook. I wish I could eat what he cooks. And two guys got into a dispute. That's not uncommon. Oh, that's a beautiful thing, Rachel. I think that's a beautiful thing. That kind of curiosity, or you want to learn, I think that's beautiful. And so, there's nothing uncommon. Fights used to break out on the basketball court all the time. That wasn't. But today happened to be one of those days that a particular. Oh, you too, Professor. I find it's satisfying digging in and learning things. Well, I guess it's obvious because um, you went into the direction of history. So people who do who people get involved in history are curious. People who are genuinely curious. And it's not. Oh, they did. They discussed that. Yeah, a fight breaking out on the basketball court was it's not unusual. However, this one guy that got into the argument, well, we thought it would be best to just exit the the basketball court because it's enclosed. So we figured we'd exit. We went across the street, bought ourselves some 40s, waited because that personality left the basketball court. And what he did for a living was that he was a hired gun. So we kind of like thought that maybe he felt disrespected enough to go do exactly what he did. He came back with a Tech 9, which is a automatic weapon, and he just started spraying the whole court. And we just sat there across the street watching this whole thing go down, watching this dude just empty out his Tech 9 on the park. Oh, yeah, he was associated. He probably never left it. I know a Marine that came back to the neighborhood and started a gang. Yeah. Yeah, Latin Kings, they're out of Chicago. They're originally out of Chicago, but New York was loaded with Latin Kings. Loaded. Yeah, they were loaded with Latin Kings. And there were a lot of other gangs. And that's one thing about New York City, at least where I grew up. Everywhere I grew up, the gang that you represented, it was about defending the block that you lived on. Because in the block that I lived on, there would be 4 or 5 different representations of 4 or 5 different gangs. But they didn't have conflict with one another on the block. Whatever they did outside of the block, I don't know, but on the block, if you came from some other neighborhood and came through our block and something was going down, you better pray that if you were part of a gang, you better pray that somebody from your gang was on our block that would argue on your behalf so that we would spare you, because if not, you was getting picked up and you were either going to the emergency room or the morgue, one of the two places. Yeah, I saw a lot of crazy stuff growing up, Professor. A lot of crazy stuff. Crazy. I've seen people stabbed, shot, thrown off rooftops, hit by cars, trucks, um, beaten till they were unalive with batteries inside socks. Yeah. Um, impaled, all kinds of crazy stuff. All kind. Uh, on the train, I left my girlfriend's house in Washington Heights, and I was on my way down to my house. I was on the C train. So on the C train, one of the stops is 145th Street. Yeah, I did. On the C train, um, it stopped at 145th Street in Harlem, and from 145th Street, yeah, impaled. I've seen people get tortured too. This one guy, they put a pin through his tongue, and in order to keep it from going back in his mouth, and they cut his tongue right off for being a snitch. I saw this dude get his feet cut off. They cut this dude's feet off. Yeah. I've seen plenty of people overdosed on my way to school. Yeah. I saw my father get attacked by 4 people. They almost killed him. They caught him right across the head with a bat. I was outside watching the whole thing go down. They slammed him with one of those old style garbage cans. In New York City, we use garbage cans, those cylindrical garbage cans, and they cut both his feet off. They cut both his feet off. Yeah. I'm telling you, people do some cruel things to other human beings. Cut his feet off. Yes. There was no. It wasn't a scream. He owed money. He owed money. It wasn't a scream. I guess the pain was so intense. It was like a moan. It was like moaning, but not. They were trying desperately to I guess to fight off the pain that I don't know. I don't even know how to describe it. Really, it's just, and it wasn't like a hack. No, it was cut. Of course, when it hit the bone, they had to work through that. But it's not like, yeah, they weren't nice about it. Yeah, stuff like that for owing money. I don't know how much he owed, but I do remember that some of my homeboys, and they already served time for this, dealing with the trauma, huh? I don't know, Rachel. To be honest with you, my oldest son, who's 30 years old, he and my nephews, when they were all together, they made a comment about my response to certain things that happened, like when we were all present, when we heard of a family member that died. Some of the comments I made were, I guess, off to them, and I did have to go see a shrink on a few occasions. But when they started talking about PTSD and stuff like that, I never returned. I left and never came back because I didn't want anyone putting anything on my record with regards to that. Um, I worked in an environment. I was a correction officer where I did see a lot of acts of violence. Uh, but according to my classmates from my academy, they found my behavior little bit odd in response to some of the stuff that was going on. Yeah, on a few occasions I had to go see therapists. There were a few occasions at the prison where uh, people were unalived, that they wanted everybody who was at the immediate vicinity of the incident to go and seek therapists and stuff like that. I guess it is helpful, although I don't know if my PTSD is something that others should be concerned about. I take to humor. I'm not a well. I mean, I do defend myself physically, but I don't. Yeah, it does. Well, I'll tell you, I don't trust uh, the psychiatric community. I don't trust it. But what I will, and I'll tell you what, uh, I think I would need a therapist if I ever pursued a career as a therapist, because to sit there every day for like 8 hours a day and hear a lot of what many people have to say, I think I would go bonkers. So to be a therapist and a judge, I don't know. That to me is tough. That's rough. To be a judge and hear the same excuse over and over again, and to sit there and try to be as professional as possible, I don't know. And a therapist, to hear somebody uh, complaining over and over again as they continue to make the same mistake over and over again. Yeah, I don't know about that. I distance myself from family members and friends and former friends because of that. To have to sit there and listen to somebody make the same mistake over and over again and then complain and then blame somebody else. Oh man, yeah, I would lose it. I would lose it. And that's why I create distance from those types of personalities. Oh, they're good outside of the psychiatric community as well. Yeah, yeah. Well, I came across some not so good ones. The first therapist I ever met. I'm sitting there, and I'm not sure what it was. I think it was anger management or something like that when I was 16. And it was a psychiatrist, his name was. And this is how he greeted me. He said, in this very, very serious face, I'm going to try my best to, hello, my name is Dr. Ian Canino. I'm saying to myself, what the hell is wrong with this dude? So I answered back, giving him my name the same way he gave me his. I said, hello, my name is Richard Burns. Listen, I didn't last very long with this dude. I think it was 2 sessions and I was gone. 2 sessions and I was gone. I didn't understand. For the most part, he would sit there with his pad scribbling away, and I would just sit there watching him. And I didn't understand. Was I supposed to talk? Was I supposed to say something? I don't know. So I'm sitting there just watching this dude, and he's just looking at me. And the way he was doing it, was like trying to encourage me to talk, but hey, Miss Queen. So when he used to do that, I didn't particularly care for that because I felt like I was being manipulated. Like, dude, if you want to talk about something, let's talk. Yeah, it's our responsibility to find the right therapy for ourselves. Yeah, lots of hacks out there. Beware of the term life coach. Oh wow, yeah. If they are charging money, wow, right? See, listen, from young, um, I was always under the suspicion of being manipulated. Maybe because of the way my mom was. My mom was seriously dramatic. Oh my God. Like watching a soap opera unfold right before your eyes. She would come to me and she would ask me, yeah, say what you need to say. Exactly. Listen, my mom, oh my God. I'm in the bathroom taking a shower. I think I'm about 17 at this time. I'm taking a shower. My mom found some porn magazines that belonged to my older brother. He was stashing them away somewhere. She found them. She thought they were mine. I'm taking a shower. She comes in. I'm terribly disappointed, number one, because the heat from the bathroom is escaping now because she leaves the door open. I'm not happy about that. But can't get slick at the mouth with mom because she'll just tell my dad and then it'll be a wrap. But then she rips the curtains wide open with that freezing cold air coming through. And on top of all that, just to add insult to injury, she has to look down and say, oh, what happened? Mom, what do you mean what happened? Stop looking down there. Listen, let that go. And she's going on and on about these magazines that she found. But the way she's saying it, like she's trying to get me to confess. Uh, Pure drama. Why? Why, Richard? Why what, Mom? What are you talking about? You shouldn't be doing that. You shouldn't be doing that because when the time comes, you're not going to perform. What? Mom, what the hell are you talking about? It's okay. I understand your curiosity, but you're not going to perform. Mom, I'm not going to perform what? Mom, what are you talking about? It's cold in here. I can tell. No. But she would go on and on with this drama, like she was in a soap opera or something. Like, oh my God, no, Mom, stop it. Your mom believed that the devil was possessing all of us? 80s satanic panic? Yeah, right? Oh man. So yeah, so yeah. And then to wind up in a therapist's office, and they would ask you a question, and they would just do this and start writing on their notepad. And then when they would stop writing on their notepad, they would just look at you and continue with the head nod. And I would just start nodding too. You know what? I don't know if she discovered if they were my brothers or not. I just told her straight up that they were his. I snitched them out. But I don't know if she believed me because she kept on with that you're not going to perform business. Like, whatever, Mom. It's cold in here. Can you please close the door? Yeah. And for everything, it was like that. Everything was a drama. Everything was a drama. It was crazy. My older brother, he was a psychopath. Straight up. If anybody, no, you know what? He couldn't go see a therapist because the therapist would unalive themselves with that dude. My older brother. Yeah. Out of control. Listen, oh my goodness. When it came to anything regarding sex, my brother was a psychopath. Psychopath. Excuse the vulgarity, but this guy has seen more pussy than a cat farm, okay? This dude was out there. He was dipping his dipstick all over the place. He was checking oil pressure everywhere. This guy was, yeah, like your current job, Professor. Yeah, with women. My brother was, listen, I had said this many times on my lives before. If I were to take into consideration, if I was to take into consideration comments I've heard from women as to what their ideal man is, my brother is right there. He's right there with the exception of how bonkers he is. He's not violent with his wife or with his children, but outside of that, he's out of control. He's out of control. Well, not now. Now he's in control. He suffered a stroke not too long ago, so he's passive now. Yeah, that stroke pacified him. It's crazy, but when I first heard about when he got his stroke, which was, I don't know, maybe 3 or 4 years ago, when I heard about it, it did hurt, but at the same time, I was I didn't know what his condition was, but there were a lot of people that were thanking God. A lot of family members that heard about it that were thanking God. They really were. I mean, seriously thanking God. He's there's two giveaways that the stroke did impact him. Nothing physical. He still his reflexes are awesome. Hey, rising. Like number 12, thank you. Yeah, happy weekend, rising. Yeah, so it's nothing physical. Thank you. He lived very fast, Professor. Very fast. He did some stuff while he was in the military that should have landed him in the brig, but he didn't. There's stuff that he did where he should have been court-martialed. He should have been in big trouble, but he wasn't. He didn't get in trouble. He had some connections. I don't know what his connections were, but he did some wild stuff. Wild stuff. Rachel, thank you so much. Thank you so very much. And I hope to see you again on Saturday Night Lives. I don't know if you're up at that time, but 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, I do my Saturday Night Lives every Saturday. Thanks again, Rachel. But yeah, Professor, this dude, I showed the picture. I mean, the guy, he's got it all. The guy can cook. The guy's packing like a mule, knows how to use it. He's a doctor. The guy is, but he's bonkers. But that. So now with the stroke, he's got two complications. One, he forgot his first language. He forgot his first language. His first language is Spanish. He forgot it. He only speaks English now, or he forgot how to speak it. You can speak to him in Spanish, but he'll respond in English. He doesn't speak Spanish anymore, unless that's changed since the last time I saw him. It's been a while since I saw him. Another thing is, he wants to say something to you, but he winds up saying something else. Like if he were to say, my little brother has a YouTube channel, he might say something like, are you hungry? I got something to eat. Something completely different. It's frustrating for him, but he doesn't get to say what he wants to say because his brain is. Yeah, my father was a tough cookie. No, grandma didn't help. His mother was, oh my God, his mother. Ooh. Well, she was so bad that my dad let all of us know that under no circumstance, when he passes away, he is to be buried anywhere near that woman. No. So she wasn't tops on his list. Not at all. She was a she was a loan shark. Yeah, my grandmother was a loan shark. And all her sons, they used to collect. And her sons were brutal. All my uncles were brutal. My father's side of the family, oh my goodness. The unaliving that used to go on by those people. Crazy. Cray cray. Yeah. So tomorrow night, typical panel. Yeah, more than likely. Well, my brother grew up for the first what? 3. So his first 14 years were back home. And it's a different world back home. Back home, if your parents unalive their if a parent unalived their, yeah, dealt with Trujillo, dealt with that whole thing. Parents can unalive their kids back home and they wouldn't get in trouble. In fact, it was your duty to make sure that your children were in check. It was your duty. And if you failed at that, the government will let you know by torturous means. They would let you know. Yeah, no. That was a different upbringing. That was a different upbringing. It was a different time. And when my parents arrived here, they were not happy. Well, they had to live in poor neighborhoods. And my parents used to be members of the upper class back home. Upper class, different society, different it was a dictatorship. Yeah, it's no joke in the sense that it has completely flipped now. The crime, the crime in the Dominican Republic is outrageous now. The tourist areas, just to give you an idea, the tourist areas, they're policed uh by a particular type. Yeah, it's different, Rising. Like the tourist police, they don't function the way the normal police do. They protect the tourist industry, and to the point where these tourist police will unalive somebody in a heartbeat to protect the tourist area. Tourist. I was there one year when some some thugs robbed and unalive. Yeah, tourist police. They robbed and unalive a tourist. And when the tourist police showed up, there was no questions asked. They gunned the dude down. They gunned him down right there on the spot. They played judge, juror, and executioner right there. And the following day, they announced services for the thugs that ripped off that tourist in the neighboring town. Well, New York was off the hook. At least when I was there, it was off the hook. Rising. I arrived in '68, and all my life that I was in New York City, it was just the neighborhoods that I lived in. It was just it was horrible. To me, it was horrible. I didn't like that. Like I was saying earlier in the video, in the live right now, that my best friend was fear. Fear was my best friend. I was afraid at all times. Yeah, in Dominican, oh, it was even worse when my father was in government. It was even worse. Like we didn't have a prison population really. Maybe 20 people in the whole island that were there for some stupid stuff. But if you went to a bar, once you were done, you went straight home. You didn't hang out at the bar with a group of guys talking about whatever sporting event you were watching or anything. And, oh, you didn't do that. Because if the army or the police showed up and they saw a group, you coming with us. For what? You guys are plotting against the government. You guys are all grouped here plotting against the government. Let's go. And they take you in and torture you. Yeah, you couldn't hang around in groups in a corner or anything like that. Couldn't do that. If you were out late night, you better have a good reason for being out late night. Because if not, you're going in, buddy, to get tortured. Yeah. Yeah, you have to have a picture. You have to have a picture of Trujillo somewhere where it could be seen. As soon as somebody opened the doorway to your house to go in, that picture had to be somewhere where it could be seen. And that picture had to say, in this house, Trujillo is the boss. It had to say that. If you didn't have that picture, your neighbor, let's say your neighbor came over and wanted to borrow some sugar or whatever, and they're looking around and they don't see that picture, ooh, they can go right to the police station and say, hey, they ain't got a picture. What? Before you know it, they were taking you in and torturing you. What's the deal? Oh, And if you accuse somebody of being a communist, it wasn't like here in the United States during the McCarthy era, where you'd be accused of being a communist and you'd go to court and all that. There was no court down there. You're a communist? Oh, yeah. Oh, you're coming with us. Torture. They would take wires and shock you through your testicles. That was one of the many things they used to do. One of the many fun things they used to do. Just an accusation alone will do that. Maybe if there were people around saying, no, he's not like that. He's not like that. Who told you that? No. Maybe they may not take you in. Maybe. But that's, yeah, it is messed up, but that's how it was. That's how it was. That's what a dictator is all about. If there was a lieutenant, a captain, a major, anything like that wanted to move up in rank, wanted to seek favor amongst his chain of command, oh, look at that sweet looking 13-year-old. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that our dictator would love to have fun with that 13-year-old. I'm going to present her to him. They'll come knocking on the door. If you were the parents, they would let you know, listen, your daughter's presence is requested. They knew exactly what you were talking about. The parents knew exactly what you were talking about. They're about to go sacrifice her over to the dictator. If she was pretty, who brought her in here? Oh, that was Captain such and such. That's a good captain. He might even be a better major. Yeah. I think it's time for a new rank. Yeah. Then they bring your daughter back all busted up, bleeding all over the place, tore up. She wouldn't be crying because they would threaten her, tell her shut up. But as soon as they left, yeah, she would break out in tears, hurt, devastated. And if you got something to say about that, guess where you're going? Yeah. Some people had a hard time rising. Some people had a hard time when those military men or that police would come knocking on the door asking for your daughter. Some people had a hard time. And soon after, they were no longer with us. They were no longer with us. That's a dictatorship. That's what it's like. That's what it's like. Once you turn 18, if you're not going to continue your education, you got to go to work. You have to go to work. If you couldn't find a job, the administration would give you a piece of land for you to till. Give you a piece of land for you to farm, but you're not just going to do nothing. You ain't living in your parents' basement. There ain't none of that. It is nasty work, Professor. There's a lot of nasty stuff that goes on in dictatorships that people here in this country, they have no clue. They have no idea. None. None. It's a one-party system, but they'll put on a show. They'll make believe that there's more than one party going up for office, but you already know who's going to win. There's nobody that's going to step up to seriously challenge the status quo. There's no such thing as that in a dictatorship. There's a show to put on for the international audience. Oh, we're not like that. Look, we have elections. Yeah, okay. There's no um, there's no freedom of speech. Another quick way to find yourself in a pine box and 6 feet under was to talk trash about the dictator. You talk trash about the dictator, yeah, you're pretty much done. You're pretty much done. Why is my why is this thing? Okay, now I got it. But dictatorships, y'alls. Yeah, I'm tired of winning. I've been winning so much now lately. I'm tired of it. People don't need to eat because it's more important to prop up another country's currency with $40 billion. That's more important than the tens of millions that will go hungry as of tomorrow. And yes, inflation is still a thing. If you're a billionaire, none of this matters. None of this matters. But if you're not a billionaire, you got to be tired of winning. Got to be. Phoenix, the professor said the same thing. The ballroom. People don't need to eat, they need entertainment. They need that ballroom. The very ballroom that they're not going to be able to access. Yeah, they're not going to be able to go and be entertained in that ballroom. But for whatever amount of money it takes to demolish that side of the White House and then rebuild the ballroom, I think people don't need to eat. Before I leave, let me tell you something about not eating. A family member of mine is in hot water. I mean, serious hot water. I don't know, 300 million. Yeah, people don't need to eat. I don't know the full details about this, but this relative of mine, according to the report, helped to put an 11-year-old unalived young lady in a bin and hidden in an abandoned house. That family member of mine has children with the mother of that 11-year-old. It's not his child. But The worst of it is how that 11-year-old girl was unalived. The mother had her 11-year-old taken away for some time by whatever agency that is that's responsible for mothers and children, the protection of mothers and children. That agency took her daughter from her and handed her over to her mother's mother, the child's grandmother. And she was living a wonderful life with her grandmother. But then the decision was made that the child had to be returned to the mother. Well, her mother allowed her daughter, the 11-year-old, to starve to death. 3 weeks without eating, and the 11-year-old perished. What kind of a person do you have to be to watch your child wither away and perish from hunger? And that family member of mine is now in custody. And I don't know if he was living with her. Like I said, he's got children with her, with the same mother. And I don't know if he was living with her or not, but he knew about the unaliving of the girl and participating in hiding the 11-year-old by putting her in a bin and helping to transport her to a vacant home. So he's done. But what kind of person are you to watch your child, the one you gave birth to, wither away and perish from hunger? Yeah, I'm going to leave it at that note. Thanks to everybody who showed up. Thanks for everybody who came and stayed in the bushes and watched. Thanks for the likes. Yeah, it's very sad, Professor. It's a cousin of mine he's going to be locked up. And that's not a good thing to be locked up for. Anything associated with a child, not good. Thanks again. Folks, it's not how much you make, it's how much you keep that counts. Don't forget that. Stay fresh. Keep it profitable out there, y'all. All right, everybody. Thanks again. Hope to see you guys at Saturday Night Live.